Okay, so I'll start by telling a little bit about myself and how I got involved in hospitality. Then I'll tell you about the restaurant itself and how it began, um, and how it has grown over the last 4 years. Um, and I'll talk about the previous Erasmus students we've had with us over the last couple of years. I'll do a wee bit about how we have adapted during lockdown in a big way. And then I'll talk about the Glasgow food scene and the big changes over the last 10 years. And if we've got time, we could do a wee exercise at the end where um, if Sabrina can organise breakout groups to
Yeah.
do 6 different breakout groups to write our own Erasmus menu in the style we would do in the restaurant. So firstly, I started cooking when I was 21. I was quite late to becoming a chef because when I was first told at school as a 14-year-old that I had some flair and some talent in cooking, I thought that was really uncool. So I chose music because I wanted to be in a band, which did not work out, obviously. I started working in hospitality as a waiter, front of house, in a fine dining restaurant in Glasgow, and became friends with the chefs. I thought this looked like good fun. And I pestered the head chef for months for a job in the kitchen. And one day a chef walked out and he pulled me into the kitchen, and that was the beginning. And I've never looked back since. I met Nico, the owner of Six by Nico, in that first job. We were both young guys. I was 21, he was 20. We didn't know what we were doing. It was a very, very steep learning curve. We worked for a chef who had Michelin experience and expected Michelin standards. And myself and Nico got it very, very tight for the first year we were there. But I think that sort of training stood us in good stead for where I am just now, and especially for where Nico is now with his restaurants. I went to work for Nico, and he sat me down. He had a restaurant called 111, which was just a fine dining bistro, casual fine dining. Very good food. I'd eaten in it many times. And he sat me down one day and asked me to come on board. And he told me about Six by Nico. As soon as he told me about Six by Nico, I was 100% on board because the idea, the concept was just completely unique, and I could see how it would become very popular. So his vision when he sat me down was to introduce tasting menus to make them accessible to everybody. So tasting menus you'd usually find in top end restaurants, Michelin star restaurants. They'd always be very expensive, but Nico wanted to bring it to Glasgow at affordable price so that anybody who wanted to access fine dining food could afford to do so. So when we first opened, Nico was offering 6 courses for £25. So I don't know, less than €30. And that was just unheard of. And it just exploded. It went from just an idea to a packed restaurant every single day from day one. The expectation at the beginning was unknown, obviously, how busy we would be. So when we took off and it just exploded, it was chaos. I can't even explain in words how crazy the beginning of this experience was. Just how popular and how good an idea, how good a concept he created. And yeah, it's again another massive learning curve for everyone who was here, but it was long days into the early hours, preparing dishes that had 20 different elements on each dish for 180 people a day, 6 courses each. It was crazy. Obviously, we've refined it and made it more manageable. 20 elements in each dish was impossible when we're serving 1,000 plates of food every day. But now it's refined, it's a slick operation, and it's growing across 5 different cities now. So what we do is we take an idea or a memory or a location and create a 6-course menu around that theme. So for instance, locations we've done would be Mexico, Sicily, Thailand, Vietnam, where we'd find 6 dishes from these countries, and then put our own spin on it and create 6 tasting size portions using the flavors of those dishes to fit the theme. Different ideas we've done Alice in Wonderland, we've done Illusion, where we create dishes that look like something but tasted like something else. We've done Forest, so we'd forage a lot of ingredients, preserve a lot of ingredients as well, and use wild game. We've done Willy Wonka, which again was a lot of fun with different flavors, different textures, popping candy. The chocolate river was a dish where we had designed the plate to look like a river, things like that. So it's just basically, the concept is to try and be as push the boundaries, but make it accessible for everyone who can afford £25 for a meal, which is very reasonable. So we started in Glasgow, in Finnieston, which is 10 years ago. There was nothing here, and now it is basically the food hub for all the sort of cool independent restaurants in Glasgow. I stayed here 10 years ago, and there was genuinely nothing here apart from one restaurant. And as soon as I moved away, restaurants just started opening up, and it became a really cool sort of hit area to hang about. Now the whole street is just restaurants and bars, and it would be, if I was coming to visit Glasgow, this would be my first stop for an evening out. So after Glasgow had been open for about a year, Nico got a site in Edinburgh, in the capital, and opened up there. Another 6 by Nico, slightly bigger than Glasgow. And from there, it's just sort of snowballed. He's now in Manchester, Liverpool, most recently in London. London opened up in between the first lockdown and the second lockdown. So it's still to become established in London, but I think with the formula and how it's worked in every other city so far, I can't really see it not working. And I know he's got plans to open up in different cities across the UK as well, and just keep going. It's just proven to be very popular. The marketing's always spot on. Back at the start, we used to do marketing videos basically that looked like they'd been filmed on an iPhone, starring myself and Nico and a few other guys that were here from the start. But now it's big production team. He's actually got his own production team in his office to film all the content. We've worked with Erasmus students for, I think, 2 or 3 years now, Sabrina.
Yeah, I think it was 2019, like summer.
Yep. So we've had several different students here, and it's always been a good experience for me and for them, I hope. We've had, it's quite, because of the pace this kitchen moves at, I can see how much of a challenge it can be for the students to come in, but everyone who's come here has really, really taken it on and just sort of gone at it and done well. We've had,
yeah, they said they felt at home quite quickly, even the ones that were there for a day.
Yeah, and I mean, Tice was here for 6 weeks a couple of years ago, and he mastered how to make cheeseburgers inside a bao bun that were deep fried, and just to a perfect level. And he actually really integrated well with the team. He was going out for drinks with the guys after work, and he felt like part of the team, although he was only here for 6 weeks. And yeah, all the students that have come over have enjoyed it and really taken on the hard work, which is hard work. I mentioned lockdown there, and I'll tell you what we have done since this is all kicked off. So after we were closed, after 2 weeks of being closed for the first lockdown last year in March, we started doing home delivery boxes, like many restaurants have, where we would put the 6 by Nico experience in a box and deliver it around Glasgow to start with, and then Edinburgh as well, and then it spread out across the UK. So what started as 100 people, we were told, would be feeding in the first week, ended up being 200, 300, 400. We ended up doing 400 boxes for 2 people each week from the restaurant, which was another massive challenge, but again, proved very popular. So Nico then decided to jump on this very quickly, and he invested in a factory unit, a warehouse unit in Glasgow, where he built a big kitchen, and then bought another warehouse and turned it into a fridge. And now he runs something called Home X, which distributes sort of home dining experiences for 6 by Nico across the whole of the UK. So something that started with just 3 of us in the kitchen, and here with no space, is now a massive operation, and he's now selling 6,000 boxes a week across the UK, all different types of boxes as well. So it's gone from just being 6 by Nico boxes to he's got a Chateaubriand box, which is basically steak and wine box. He's got a lobster box, it's a lobster dinner box. He's got a Sunday roast box starting soon. He's done a vegan option, which has proven very popular. And yeah, it's actually, he's made the very best of a tough situation, and he's kept us all working very hard. But it's been good. It's been rewarding again to see the feedback. The toughest job now, I would say, for the guys is coming up with fresh ideas every month to be able to make them accessible, to produce a meal at home, to make them as straightforward as possible. To come up with a vegan box every month is obviously very difficult as well, but the guys are doing a great job at that. He's got a full development team now, working every day, trying out new things, which is a testament to them that they managed to create something completely different every time, and keep it all fresh. So the lockdown has been tough in the restaurants, but Nico adapted very quickly to the situation and found a way to keep feeding his supporters, and it's worked out tremendously well. And when we open back up at the end of the month, end of April, we will continue to do the home buy boxes alongside restaurants. I think this will be a hybrid model for a while yet, until we get full capacity back in the restaurants, and people are more confident about going out as well. So I mentioned a bit about the Glasgow food scene in Finnieston, but the Glasgow food scene in general, since I started cooking, is completely different from when I started. It was when I first started cooking, there was 2 or 3 restaurants that you would want to work in to get a good experience. Only a handful of restaurants you would really choose for a special meal, but now in Glasgow you get 20, 30 different restaurants that are all cool, accessible, big flavors, loads of different places where you would gain good experience to work, and you'd have a great meal if you're to go and eat. We also in Glasgow got our first Michelin star for 18 years, I think it was. Kale Brewick is the name of the restaurant. That's the first star for years in Glasgow, but that's just showing you the direction that food in Glasgow is going. It's I mean, it really is transformed massively, because if you beforehand, all the best chefs in Scotland would be through in Edinburgh, where there's several Michelin star restaurants and big tourist population, but now Glasgow's really bought into it, and yeah, there's loads and loads of good restaurants. I could put together a massive list of recommendations for any visitors to Glasgow. Yeah, so one of the menus, one of the most popular menus we've done in the restaurant was a 6-course childhood memories menu. So dishes on that were things like macaroni cheese, which we made a macaroni cheese and set it with a setting agent called agar, sliced it into rectangles, and then we'd fry it with homemade brown sauce. Just that's the sort of things we do to elevate simple dishes like a macaroni cheese. We had things like fish fingers on that menu, beef burgers, but done in a way that you almost wouldn't recognise it, but you get the same sort of flavours, and it takes you back. And when you taste it, you just think of things you've had in your childhood. Well, we've done the Orient Express before. We've done Route 66, where it's just taken on different areas of America. So things like that. Yeah, it's good. It's interesting.
Cool. Great. So thank you so much.
If anyone's got any more questions, then just pass them through yourself, and I'm happy to answer.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Great. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.